my name is Dawn Mahoney. I'm the president of the Winthrop Art Association, and today we're going to be doing a little something different. We're going to be making fairy houses, and Sandy Schiff is going to show everybody how to do it. But first I want to read a little paragraph, The Origins of Fairies. Most of us think of fairies as tiny creatures flitting about on gossamer wings, waving magic wand, but folklore has a different tale to tell. And now we're going to be showing you their little homes that everybody thinks of fairies. And I want to introduce Miss Sandy to show us how to do the fairy houses.
Hi, I'm Sandy Johnick Schiff, and this is all about the art of fairy house making. So welcome to the WCAT studio. And before I start, I just want to say that we're here also as a little dry run because we're going to be having a workshop at the Arbor Garden Party. And I'm going to let Joanne Hillman, the administrator of the Winthrop Loves Trees Committee, to just say a few things before we start.
Hi, I'm Joanne Hillman, and I am the chairperson of the Winthrop Cultural Council, but I'm wearing another hat today, and that Sandy mentioned. I'm the president of Winthrop Loves Trees, and this is a fairly new nonprofit tax-exempt group that is raising funds to help replace some of the missing trees around town. We've been very successful in organizing a group of people who really want to make this happen. And we created this event called the Arbor Garden Party, as Sandy mentioned. And on August 7th, Sandy will be doing another workshop on fairy house making. And if you're interested, email winthropculturecouncil@gmail or give me a call, 617-721-4162. And also it would be great if you could like Winthrop Loves Trees on Facebook. You'll get a lot of information there about what we're doing. And if you would, we're also accepting donations on August 7th or before if you want to give me a call about that also. So we appreciate all your support, and most of all, we really just want to have some fun. And we're going to do that with the fairy house making. Thanks.
Great. So as we continue with the workshop here, it's just a beautiful thing to do with the kids. It's educational, you're out in nature, the kids get to explore. And why is that? Because that's where all your materials come from, out in nature. So it's just a wonderful and creative and educational thing to do out there. So when you're out in the garden, hiking, and maybe the kids will want to come hiking with you. Usually it's like, oh, hiking, I don't know. But so, hey, it's you're exploring, you're looking, you're starting to understand nature with the kids and trees. The things that we use for fairy houses are the shedding bark that comes right off the tree. So you think of the tree's bark as skin. So as the tree grows, they shed their bark. So, hey, that's a supply. So bring your baskets with the kids and load up. Everything you would need is out there. Tiny twigs, even from the garden. Hydrangea twigs, pine tree twigs, or if you're living on the water, you can make a sea fairy house with seaweed and shells. Right, so we have all the supplies here kind of like laid out ready for us to have a wonderful fairy house making workshop. And it's just whatever comes to mind. There are no tools, machines, scissors. It's just a glue gun. It's just the wax. And it's just breaking and trimming, so it's just a very natural thing to do with your hands and your imagination. So we don't even have to draw anything, right, Dawn? We don't have to
No,
draw
no, no.
anything.
Good
No.
thing.
It's,
me.
yeah, it's spontaneous, and you kind of look at the supplies or what you gathered out there, you know, what you came back with, and you kind of lay it out. So I have a studio in Chelsea that's loaded with, you know, bins of stuff that I collect out there when I'm in the woods, anywhere.
Can I ask you, is there any demand for fairy houses out there in the world? That we have
Definitely.
all these wonderful, wonderful fantasies, you know, because you know I'm a fan of fantasies. I do all my pen and inks in fantasy and fairies, and
Yeah.
my whole world is a fantasy. But these are phenomenal. They're phenomenal. And is there a demand?
Well, it's all up to the individual. So there are tons of fairy house festivals going on. Little do you know, they're in towns all around us. So I just happened to Google up on Massachusetts. There's one in Groveland in September at VC Park. So they're usually fundraisers. So as far as a fun thing to be doing and a creative thing to be doing, one avenue is that it's for, you know, enjoyment and a fundraiser and, you know, for kids' wonderment. So like you're decorating the
Yeah.
woods, and so for selling them, you know, hey, it's up to you if you want to sell them on Etsy. You could put a bell jar over it or put them in a lantern.
In a lantern, yeah.
It's up to you how far you
Yeah,
want to
they have
take
those
it.
big doll
Glass
domes that you could put them in. But I did want to say that they have fairy places. I went to Florence Griswold in Old Lyme, Connecticut, the Florence Griswold land.
Okay.
They did all the grounds was a fairy world.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
it was just amazing. They had a mayor, they had everything.
Oh, my gosh.
And in the trees, on the grounds, everything. They made fairy houses, fairy villages, you know, and fairy shops. And it's a big thing, the fairy thing.
So I guess it's a subculture. So if
It
we
is.
don't really, if everybody doesn't really know,
yeah, and
it's out
wonderful.
there.
It's
out
wonderful.
there.
It's wonderful to have the fantasy of this. It brings you back to nature also.
Nature. It is what it does.
And I also wanted to say that when they do the fairy houses at the Arbor Garden Party, we want to put them on display out around the big tree out on at the E.B. Newton,
Perfect.
and let everybody see. And those who want to do their fairy houses and put them up for sale or auction to help fundraise for the tree things.
Yeah, we're hoping that there'll be a couple anyway for auction that day. And
Baby is here ready for you.
Oh, sure, I'm
all right, we have
sure.
one so far.
I'll have to make another
great.
one.
They're mine.
Oh, great. So there'll be a few for auction. You know, it is a fundraiser, and I'm so glad you mentioned E.B. Newton School because
Yes.
I realized I hadn't told you where the event was.
45
August 7th.
Pauline Street.
Yeah, and so there's also a wonderful art show in the gallery, the Clock Tower Gallery, where the artists, it's all tree themed. And we have a lot of participants. I really think it's going to be a fantastic show. And they've also, you know, making a donation from the artwork. So anyway, get your fairy houses there.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So we're going to start with step by step of how to do it right now. Okay. So it's kind of like a construction project, but you have to think of it in terms of the fairy as the customer. So, and get to the essence of what the fairy would love.
I love it.
real
I
estate.
love it.
And so with that, you start with the foundation or the base. So I'm really talking it all out, but you know, maybe it's common sense, but pick a strong base or flat or natural. You know, there's lots of options. And then the house on top is the basic underlying structure that all the siding and the roof would go on. So it's best to always keep in mind, stay natural if you can.
Okay.
You know, so when you're, or if it's not natural or biodegradable, hide it. So if you're using a plastic, you know, flower pots, just like hide the plastic with the reindeer moss and the Spanish moss and the real bark, so just hide it. So it's always supposed to look 100% natural. So, and then the only thing that you actually use that's man-made is the wax glue gun, and you can see all the threads from the, you can see all the glue, but I call it fairy silk. So that's okay.
I love that.
So that's okay if you see all the glue. So that's the fairy,
fairy silk.
the fairy
That's so
silk that binds it together.
cool. I love it.
So as you go around connecting the house to the base, don't worry about the fairy silk.
Fairy silk. That's great.
And be careful when you're using the hot glue gun.
Is there an off on?
No,
Okay,
just
it's
the
not
press.
working.
Put some more.
Take
push
that one
some-
out?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But it's
Yep.
really hot, so that's
Okay.
why I don't take any chances and I wear the gloves for kids. Our parents should be doing it for the kids, or the kids should learn to wear gloves while they're doing it.
I know, I'm bad.
Here we
I've
go.
gotten
Let's try
burned,
it.
so be careful.
Especially with these nail things.
So then you'll have lots of options, and to cover the main house with bark you might find, and you'll learn about oak and sycamore, and the white birch is nice and light, so it's a different contrast. Sometimes it's good to use birch
Did
for the
you-
door.
Can I interrupt? Did you
Sure.
know that birch is new beginnings and regeneration?
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
good to
that.
know.
Yeah, that's
New
what birch is,
beginnings.
new beginnings and new birch trees and regeneration.
Excellent to know.
Something. So love your birch trees.
I do love
I like birch.
Birch trees are very special.
So always keep in mind what, always be thinking about what a fairy would like. So I thought to myself, they need lots of comfortable bedding around. So I look at this as like padding for them. That could be part of where they might take a nap, or where they might rest. And also you can fill in any holes on the side with all the reindeer moss, so it stays dry for the fairy. So I might lift it up if I see holes and connect it. And the glue dries fast, and you can blow on it. And you're always adding layers and layers. So when you start with a small, pot, it really can end up a lot bigger by the time you put all the bark on it and cover it. You can also use a base, like a big piece of bark that I found. So, or driftwood.
I used a piece of slate and painted it and make it look like grass and ground.
So my front is attached. Now I'm going to kind of keep moving around.
Sandy, when did you start making fairy houses?
probably 5 years ago, and it coincided with an event, another event.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So it was an Arbor Day celebration at the Dean Winthrop House.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, really?
And I thought I had to think, how can we get the kids involved and interested in doing something fun for the kids?
Oh,
and have
yeah.
them be interested in trees and learning
Well,
all about nature. And so I thought, hey, maybe do a cleanup. So that's where we can get our supplies. So the cleanup was the acre of the Dean Winthrop House, around the
fantastic.
acre of
What
the
a
property.
good idea. You know, nature, that's what's wonderful about fairies and the fairy world and everything, because it's all about nature.
Right. Yeah, and I gave the kids the little baskets, and they came back to the barn all filled up with twigs and bark, just kind of like we're doing today. So it just kind of, it just was really fun, and it worked out great. Everybody was like fascinated by, hey, here are your supplies. It's all free and it's all natural.
I love it.
And wherever it came from, then we talked about where they came from. Oh, this came from the oak tree, this came from the pine tree.
Oh, I love it.
Right?
It's so
So-
wonderful.
Vegetation.
So it was
So
cool.
wonderful. I collect bark a lot, and I even do little paintings inside to make little hanging
Really?
things for them.
Oh. So, but that's the designer in me too. So I'm always thinking, like, you know, what
So
my resources are
Okay,
and how to get them, and you need a lot.
you have a design
Yeah, I
background?
have, I'm a
Let's introduce
a
you to
designer
everybody.
from, I graduated from Mass Art.
There you go.
And for many years, I was a flag designer, and I owned,
And I remember
I
that.
owned a company. And now I work at Schiff Architectural Detail with Jeff. I'm not a metalsmith, but I also, at one time, was a jewelry maker.
Oh,
So I'm always up to something creative while
That's what we like.
I'm doing commercial work at the same time. It would be nice to always be
Oh, God.
100%.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, look at that.
I like the hair,
You like the
the
hair?
flowers. Oh, that is
I'll
beautiful.
take it.
You know what I think
For
I'll do?
Arbor Day, I'll have to read.
I'll introduce you to a couple of other members of the Art Association. We have Phyllis Hargraves over there on the end, next to Joanne. She's a member of the Art Association and on the board. And then we have Joan Bobricky over here. She's
Hi.
a member of the Art Association and on the board. And, of course, Joanne and Sandy. So with the Art Association's all on board with this.
I'm gonna finish mine, and then I'll walk around and see if anyone needs a little help.
Oh, I'm just finishing up one.
So there
at
are-
home.
There's reindeer moss over here, as soon as you finish with your siding. And I can
gonna start-
pass
Need the
out.
gloves.
And then there's little Spanish moss, I'll bring some over
Okay.
if we need some. It's actually a very meditative thing also.
Really is.
Sometimes at the end of a day, like a busy day, I found myself drawn to it, just to work on one for an hour.
No, art is very, very healing and very,
Yeah.
it helps you,
Yeah, and it's just like an hour or an hour and a half,
that's all you need.
fooling around. And then you're creating something.
This is so much fun.
Then if you notice, there's a lot of little bling pieces. When we do the workshop, I will supply everything you need
Oh, you will?
to make the fairy houses,
yeah.
and it includes these little embellishments. So
Those are beautiful.
they're called,
I
you know,
did
they're
that.
brass findings.
I like that.
But that could be like a coat of arms
That's beautiful.
for the ferry, a coat of arms to mark,
No, it was,
Entryway.
yeah, who they are, or
Oh, the walkway.
it depends what you're making. If you're making a ferry house, you can put an anchor on, or a mermaid ferry.
Mermaids. I
It's
should
an
do a
anchor.
sea one.
oh,
Or just the tiniest of jewel. They just love sparkle,
yeah.
right? So the
And
tiniest.
the glitter glue gun.
And then as they're flying up above and they're looking for their home, hey, maybe they spot it because it catches the sun. So that's what you can think. That's why you're putting the little embellishments. I have a little seaweed here. Does anyone need seaweed if they're doing any fairy houses?
I'm just,
That may be an idea for next time.
we're all quiet, that means we're.
I know it, we're really into
Juices
this.
are flowing.
Our creative juices are flowing.
So when I'm putting the hot glue, you know, it is risky. I'm just putting it and attaching things quick. So you gotta be careful.
Oh, yeah, I've burnt myself several times. I glued my fingers together.
Careful. It burns. You're dabbing, you're pressing. See, it's
I
quick.
know.
See?
I have, it's,
So you're thinking about the door. The door determines the size of the ferry. So you think of scale all the time, the size of the windows, the
Absolutely.
door.
Oh, I love this has a little piece of mussel shell, and we have that. No surprise.
I have a little moon attaching.
oops.
No, and it's sometimes helpful to hold the house in your hand when it comes time to gluing something. So see, if you're gluing something, you can lay it horizontal and then give it a chance to dry. You know, so this is holdable. See, I can manipulate it and spin it and look, and then I put a little dab and I'm going to hold it for a second and attach the moon.
I like them
I
all.
like that.
Is
Yeah.
there any more of that?
Seaweed? Or
Yes. Seaweed.
Seaweed.
Ah, thank you.
This came from Plum Island.
Awesome.
So whenever you're out there, wherever you
Oh, I
are,
love it.
take a walk and
I
gather
do.
your
I go sh-
supplies.
I go shopping at beaches, I go shopping in woods.
I need to start
Excellent.
doing that.
Excellent.
Awesome.
It's all available to everyone
Exactly.
at our
Free.
fingertips.
Well, it is.
I'm just stuffing it and gluing it.
Okay.
Sometimes I think of the top, like the roof is a vantage point to where they can also lounge, or they're in there, they could be,
That's so cute. I
little
like that.
Beautiful. Those, wow.
they could relax up the top, or they could really take a look out what's out there, you know, because they have to watch and keep an eye on what's out there and what's approaching. And
Absolutely, they gotta be careful too.
So, did you know that they take naps called torpor naps? That's what hummingbirds do.
Uh-huh.
It's not,
Because they
it's,
flit around.
yeah, it's not a real hibernation, but it's suspended animation where their hearts slow down. So the hummingbird does that, and I think that's what the fairies are doing. Torpor, B-O-R-B-O-R, naps, napping.
Aren't they cute? Fairies are beautiful. My mother always used to tell me that they were fairies.
One time we were at the Arnold Arboretum,
Ah, you
and
go
it
there.
was maybe 2.5, 3, and she was melting down. We were
Oh,
walking along, and I told her if she stopped crying and got very quiet, she might see the fairies and the flowers. And it worked.
oh, God.
Little
You
tip,
know that-
little tip for the moms.
Good tip.
That is a good tip. And you know, on the same thing, fairies and then the wee people.
Yeah.
My father always used to talk about the wee people.
Good people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were out there.
And so to top it off, it's finished. So this is reindeer moss, and you can shape it with your hands into a little ball or spread it out flat. And a lot of it can come from a garden center too.
Yeah.
You know, like a big bag for a few dollars. So, hey, maybe you know, when you're buying your plants, you're also looking for things to use there that help.
Do you need
some
anything?
green.
You need some green?
Yeah,
Here you go.
great.
So sometimes I like to put a big clump at the top because then it's a little bit like of a foundation to help put other things on. See, so one
idea.
thing adds a foundation, yeah, and dimension for the next element. So all of these embellishments and pieces going on in layers, like a process
Okay, I'm going to
that help.
And the walnut?
Oh, I love it.
Looks like a bird egg.
I love it. This is so much fun, I gotta
It
tell
is,
you.
really
People, you gotta
is.
come to the Arbor Garden Party and join in and make these things. This is so much fun.
I'll have to do another one.
Oh, God, yeah. There's plenty of stuff. Oh, look at you.
Yeah, I've got to, I think I need, what,
Wow.
inside.
She's
Really,
got a whole world there.
I gotta keep it watered. It's live.
Oh, it's alive.
Yeah, so if I water it, hopefully it'll survive.
Oh, my
But
God. That is so cool. She's got a real living one.
wow. That's what you'll find out there.
Yeah.
So,
We need some fresh mushrooms.
yeah.
So I
You
need
never
to cover
know.
all of this.
You never know what's in there.
This is basically how I draw them too. Just let it go on and on and on, and just something here, something there. This is so cool. Mm-hmm. Oh, I love this.
So, cool.
Something dried here. That's so cool.
The seeds, seed
I
pods.
love those. What are these, Sandy?
Do you have the door yet?
Not yet. 'Cause I'm
So,
gonna put the door right here.
Mine's an
Okay.
open door.
so you can make a door with a contrasting piece of bark. So if you find a piece of bark you like that fits, so you can break it to fit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea, thanks.
And then you can put a little doorknob
yeah.
rhinestone. Oh, you can pick out something that fits.
And I put the heart as the door.
Yeah, so it should be careful. It should be contrast so you can see it.
Well, a little bit.
I don't know, what do you think?
So where's the front? So always work from the front.
The front's gonna be
I,
here.
well, I did these at home.
Those are so.
Okay,
Now,
so
what is this,
there.
a plate?
That's a plate,
In a pot?
And a paper mache, and
that's
that's a
great.
terracotta pot.
Okay, so I would start putting the siding,
That's good, you have everything at home, all the
continue,
paints.
you know,
Yeah, I
with,
did.
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
start
with what you're
I
doing,
have
with the,
Okay.
Stories.
in my
and then
studio.
if the door's gonna be here, maybe you can pick a piece of birch for the door. Let's see, and put the door next. So here's a piece, see if you can make, let's see, another piece fit. Okay, so this, if do you want to fool around with it, you have to kind of break it to like a good,
So like I'm gonna put it like right here.
yeah, yeah.
Whoops.
You want me to do it? Yeah, and if you even did that, that could be like the awning. If you did this part here could be the awning. But say you want to just make it
No, but I have to
narrower.
go check out some more stuff.
There's a lot of fun
Oh,
stuff
okay.
over here.
And this is the door, like, Unless you want to break it off. Oh, I'll go like this. Wait a minute. No. Maybe we should make it a little smaller. Oh, it's whatever you want, too. Whatever you think. Oh, looks good, Joanne.
Like it?
Definitely.
Look what she's doing.
Yeah.
So cute.
So don't
Oh,
forget.
that's beautiful.
Actually, it would have been good to
Do my bottom
to
first.
cover
Yeah.
the base
Looks like something you could sell at a flower shop.
and cover that and keep building up and up from the bottom up. Because I hate to cover some nice work you already did, you know what I mean?
that's really
Or if it's some of
Maybe do
these
something
things.
flatter. Maybe, what is that? Like a, looks like a,
Oh, so that's
Rug.
coconut fiber.
maybe that would
Yeah, so
be
you can
good to, won't cover up
hide
the
them.
design.
Yeah, so this coconut fiber comes in rolls at the garden center. So I have a big roll here. And you can just, let's see if I can break a piece off for Joanne. You can, and then the edge is natural. Instead of cutting it with the scissors, you're just tearing, see? So that's a natural
Oh,
edge.
so
great.
cool.
Always think natural.
Great, that might work better because it's flatter.
Yep, and you could manipulate,
Okay,
rip it up more.
will. Thank you.
But I met a woman at the art festival that the other day that told me all about her husband that actually made doors for their daughter, tiny, tiny doors. So and he's a carpenter.
I love it.
So it had panels and it had windows. So it was a real looking door, but it was only 2 inches tall. So
Oh, I love it.
It
Miniature is
it
a
was
big
a real
thing.
miniature door.
Miniature. is-
So anything goes.
Hey, anything goes.
Anything goes. Yeah, so you have to get a feel for when
When you should
it's
call it a day.
finished, yeah. What makes it finished, it's like the finishing pieces.
Oh, I know.
the
I
t-
find that you can keep going and going
That's
and
what
going.
I'm
and
feeling
going.
like. There, right?
Yeah.
That's very cute.
Really going
I
through
have
the
some
loop.
sycamore bark. There's a tree right at Crest Avenue Park. I'm pretty sure it's sycamore, but it really sheds. So when
Yeah.
you look at all the little sections as the tree's growing, it's just shedding as it's growing, and all around underneath it, you could pick little pieces.
It's interesting.
Yeah. And look at the, this is oak. Look at how hard this is and thick. And they're long vertical fissures that develop in
What
the.
is this
Quite a
thing that I'm
collection.
using as my,
Oh,
Jimmy.
so some of these are pods that
where did you find
I just had potpourri around the house, and I said, "Oh my God, that's very house material."
That's a great idea.
So that's some kind of pod. I might not know.
Yeah.
Washed up, a tropical piece of fauna from someplace, seeds and. You know, so I like to think of camouflaged things to help hide the
Yeah.
secret goings on of the fairy. That looks like a chimney.
Doesn't it?
That's awesome.
love
Joanne
that
just
piece.
created
Wow,
a
that's
chimney.
beautiful.
Yep.
That's a
Oh,
piece
that's
of
perfect.
something
That is
from
so
your
cute.
potpourri.
Yeah.
I gotta go look it over there and see what goodies are over there.
There's a lot of fun stuff.
I gotta tell you something.
Well, that's good.
How I remember that tree that used to be in front of the Bank of America? That big old tree?
Right.
Joanne, do you remember
sorry.
that big old tree out in front of the Bank of America? That they cut down?
Oh, God. No.
I remember when the girls were little, we used to walk by there. Every time they walked by there, they hugged that tree.
Oh,
And when they were cutting it down, I ran out of my house because, you know, I live right there.
Yeah.
I ran out of my house. I went beyond the enclosure, you know, the people weren't supposed to. I said, I want a piece of the tree. So they cut me
Oh.
off a piece of the tree and gave it to me.
Wow. Do you still have it?
Yeah.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah, I have it. Because that tree meant a lot. It was a beautiful tree.
I just had to save my cherry tree. I had like an infestation of black aphids.
oh,
But
Ouch.
I researched it and I saved it. You know, there's lots of
Fabulous.
yeah, lots of things you can do. A little trim, a little
Yeah.
soap and vinegar spray, you know, or let the natural elements take over, which is let the ladybugs come. So there were ladybugs and praying mantis and beetles, and they had a party and they ate the aphids. I took pictures of them.
let your dandelions
Did you
grow.
really?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Cute.
So that was the
That is
nature.
so cool.
It's part of the ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So as you go, you step back and take a look and see
That's
what
what you
it
do when you do art.
see what it needs. Let's see, like I can hold it. So another way is that I always propped it up high so I could
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
sit and be
That's
looking.
it.
But so here I'm holding it so I could
Beautiful.
like
I
see if
love
it's
that moon. I was going to use it.
see if it's balanced or what else it needs. And then sometimes I leave it and come back another day.
That's what, hey, it's
Right?
all art.
Leave it.
It's all art.
If you have a place where the cat won't touch it or the dog won't,
Right, doggone
I,
peanuts.
right? Dog won't.
I have a very bad, naughty pussycat. He likes to go up on, attack everything. What's that? What's that? And they,
Oh,
what you doing?
yeah, I'm gonna call mine finished, so, but I'll walk around and see what anyone else needs.
And I get this one ready.
The art of
ready to
making
go.
a fairy house. We're all artists here, so it's
And
easy.
everybody has a different fairy
one.
house.
That's all
I think it's done. I think it's done.
And you must be a gardener more than what? Well, what's more for you, doing art or gardening?
I might steal this one.
Art.
Art is what. So you did both. Yeah.
So do little
I mean, I should do both too, because I'm a gardener.
If I had time.
Next time.
I really need to make time to do more gardening, and,
Oh,
Oh, this is maybe not done. I have some spots here.
but I have a demanding dog.
oh, wow. So how does the water,
I have to spritz it in there.
you'll spritz
I'll
it?
probably have to make another one. I don't know if it's gonna last.
And those are the hydrangea
Hydrangea. and this
roots?
is-
I mean, what's the ball? Does it see like
That's
the,
a border palm.
yeah,
That's the bulb and the stuff I spritzed that.
yeah, okay. I'm gonna look at this and talk about
Oh,
this.
that's beautiful.
Wow, that's
I
heavy.
love that.
Yeah, because that's
Why is it
slate.
so heavy? Oh, it's
Oh.
slate.
That's slate.
Yeah.
Because I paint on slate too, and I do, and so I said, I have a piece of slate, I'll put it on a piece of slate.
Right, you paint on slate.
And I painted the bottom, so it looks like grass.
It blends in.
It blends
yeah.
in. And then
Yeah,
just-
so that way you you have the need for less moss if the base is the color
Yeah.
of what you're doing. But
And then
that's
I
easy.
used, in some of it, I used this glue gun, which has got gold
Wow.
sparkle. So if anybody wants gold sparkle, I have that here.
Yeah, I never tried that. I want to definitely
wanna
try
try
some.
it?
Yeah.
Absolutely try it.
So lots of bling and the best doorway ever. Look at that
Oh,
fairy
that's good.
door.
I love that.
Let me see.
That is perfect.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
And that's a piece of
Translucent
little-
and
The doorknob is a
effervescence
little piece
and
of sea glass.
It's like crystal. Or, yeah, it's
And then
glass.
there was some pearls to put on the top.
and wow.
That's really
Imagine what that fairy looks like that lives
She's
there.
gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. And then there's a little froggy out front.
And you get a snail shell.
A snail.
That one you got.
So you really built it up, and you put a couple
did.
of those peat
Oh,
pots.
that is just so
I love that.
dynamite,
That's
Joanne.
beautiful.
This is the
I
front.
love it.
That's perfect. The
I
orange.
want to live there, I think.
And
I
you-
know,
Yeah, you
huh?
really built it up.
That is
Yeah.
just so
That's
cool.
beautiful.
Thank you.
And the door is this side? Yeah.
Yeah, the bar.
This is the door.
I love that.
That's your little doorknob.
Cute. And here's the chimney.
Yeah, this
Yep.
just won't go on here.
Yeah, and you could
It won't stay.
still build up the
Balance
sides.
steps,
Yeah.
For-
Unless they're on a prairie. Well, see, so it's flat. If you like that flat, I end up building.
Build the base up,
Yeah, I seem to do that, but
like with some of
everyone.
this.
Yeah. Like and mound it up or
Yeah, I like that
it's,
look.
You could put 'em make combs.
Okay.
so it's just another spot to embellish it, It's
Yep.
just another,
I like your
the,
thought.
yeah, the edges and then the roofs, the roof area is a area to build up and then the edging. So you look for all
So,
places
Glue on my nail.
that it can
yeah.
attach, where everything can. Oh, what's this? Another shed. Oh, she's making a little. What do you call that? A fairy. This structure. She made another.
Fairy bed.
That's going to be a bed.
oh my God, you gotta show us that.
So I hope this is just a beginning point in everyone's journey of the art of fairy house making. This is just if you haven't made one before, because it's endless.
It is endless.
You can go anywhere
You
with
can go-
it.
You go on and on and on. I love it.
It can be a reflection of you, what you do, what you like to collect. And sometimes you have to look deep into the house to see what little surprises there might be, too.
I love that, Sandy. That's cool.
Yeah, there might be a surprise here and there. All right, so let's hold our fairy houses up in our next fairy house event, fairy house making workshop. We'll be at the Arbor Garden Party, August 7th.
Here's our fairy houses, yay.
Thank you
Oh, that's
very
so
much for
pretty.
joining
you.
us. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.